Hey guys, here at OSReviews.com. Today we're giving you a retro review of the iPod Video, or just known as the iPod. Nowadays, the iPod Classic. This is a 5th generation model, the black version, so it's last generation, but it's still interesting, so we are going to give you this retro look back. Now, in terms of size, it's pretty much the same as today's iPod Classics, but you have to keep in mind that the capacity in terms of memory is way smaller. The black version here, I have the 30 gig version, but they also come in 60 gig versions. In today's standards, we have 120 gig versions and 160 gig versions, which are about the same size. So we are getting a lot of larger memory in terms of the hard drive capacity. So they have done a lot of work in terms of shrinking it, even though on the exterior, the hard drive and the width doesn't look too much changed from the 5th generation. Now, what's unique and reminiscent about the 5th generation is really that the skin is made entirely of this plastic material. It reminds us of the early generations, the 2nd generation, in fact, of iPod Nanos, where they use this plastic unibody. Now, you're seeing some distortion here because we have placed a screen protector on here. We have placed a film on here, and it's a matte finish, so it does look a little bubbly on some places, but it is a screen protector. And of course, we have the famous iPod metallic aluminum back, which has a lot of issues. One of them being that it's a scratch magnet, and it's really just, if you touch it, you scratch it. It's kind of the type of thing that no one can keep 100% scratchless once it goes out of the box. Same things here. It looks pretty nice, but it is very much attractive to fingerprints and stuff. We have placed another protector here, so that's just something to note. Taking a look at the hardware, we do have a 3.5mm headphone jack on the top and a hold switch. This is the same placement as the newer versions and newer models. This hold switch will light up orange once you switch it to the right. Otherwise, the plastic material is also unique because it it's transparent at the edges, as you can see there. It catches the light a little bit, so the whole entire edge, once the screen is on and stuff, will be transparent, which is something that's also of a nice touch. The plastic, though, is again very easy to scratch. It's something of a trade back with iPods. All iPods are pretty easy to scratch, so it's just something to note here. The 30 gig model is really just meant for playing videos, for playing photos and movies, and for music, of course. You have the famous iPod click wheel, which composes of a capacitive sensor, which goes round and round and round. And of course, you have your dedicated center OK keys, as well as your menu, skip track, and play pause buttons. The menu interface, of course, does not include color flow at this time, but it does have most of the features that we have come to expect in iPods. Running the show is a 2.5-inch TFT LCD display. It's a pretty nice and bright screen. We have received updates of this to make the screen a little brighter, but this is basically the original and how it looks like now. It's pretty viewable under direct sunlight. It's not too bad, especially with the screen protector on. It's a matte finish, so it's not going to attract too much stuff. The viewing angles, of course, are excellent, as you might expect from all iPod products. There's nothing of an issue there. Taking a look, there's the music department, where we have a lot of songs, audiobooks, and composers. This is the 5th generation model, not the 5.5 generation model, so it does not have the search feature yet, but this is interesting because it is going to be, take a look at the back. At what it looked like. So we have audiobooks, composers, genes, and musics, and songs, and albums, and artists. If we just take a look at songs, you can just scroll through all your famous your songs. I've got a few audiobooks on here, and you can just go through, and as you're scrolling, you can see that the letters will pop up on screen, which is another pretty cool feature. Now, the thing you'll notice is that this is using a hard drive. It's not like an iPod Touch or an iPod Nano, which is a flash-based device. Because of that, sometimes, very occasionally, you might hear a little bit of humming and a little bit of like a hard drive when it's thinking. And because of this, it's not as instantaneous as a solid-state drive. So sometimes when we're playing music, there's going to be a little vibration, and it's going to take a little bit longer for the music to load, which is a little bit of a drawback. Otherwise, we've got the same features we've come to expect, from volume controls to skip tracks to seamless playing, which means that after we finish a song, it just skips to the next. Now, you might ask, when is this really important? It's really important when you're playing audiobooks, because audiobooks are usually divided into multiple sectors and multiple sections. If we're playing something like The Book Thief, and we get to the end, we don't want to wait like a minute until Book Thief Part 2 loads. We want it to seem like it's only one, 5-hour audiobook, which is something pretty nice to do here. So music playback is what you expect. Battery life is pretty good. Of course, nowadays you've got a lot longer battery life, but it's not bad. Nothing bad at all. In terms of photos, it's the same thing you've come to expect, but it's basically the same thing that I said before. It does take a little bit longer for pictures to load. Once we press it, there we go, there's a little bit of hesitation. But it still is pretty instantaneous and fast, and it's really easy to just scroll around through your photos in general, and the screen is pretty vibrant. It's not as crisp as we might like, but it is fairly adequate and fairly large for something of this caliber, which stores a lot of content because it's a hard drive based device. Other than that, we can play their slideshows, and you can connect to your TV. One of the features that the iPod 5th generation video has over apparently most iPods except for the 6th generation iPod Classic is the ability to hook up directly via the 30-pin connector into your TV or any video output device like a projector. Nowadays, you have to purchase for iPod Touches and stuff this proprietary special iPod dock connection, which allows you to connect to your TV, and that's an extra $60. But for this, I think you can even hook it up to a headphone jack and connect to your TV. It's just something that Apple didn't limit in the past, and that means that there's a lot of cheaper accessories you can buy third-party wise to connect it to your TV and view your videos and photos and slideshows content that way, which is another a big advantage in my aspect, because it plays video and then you can hook it to your TV for pretty cheap instead of just being forced to buy an expensive iPod dock. Otherwise, let's take a look at video. Video content is pretty easy. It stores multiple settings. You can take it out, and we've just got a few videos. It stores also different languages like Chinese, and we just tested a few files. You do need to convert it to the Apple recognized kind of special proprietary MP4 file, but it's pretty easy. You got a lot of free programs online, so it shouldn't be that hard. If we play something like Bridge Over Troubled Water from, let's see if we can, video settings, I'm on out on, so if we turn that off, we should see it on the display. And let's just do tell me why. And you can see the black and the depth and how nice the video plays. So there you go. There's no built-in speaker, but you do see that you can adjust the volume manually. It's a pretty nice interface. This, of course, video content looks pretty nice. The camera isn't doing this too much justice. It looks a little too bright and saturated here. But it is a very nice playback experience overall. It's not as crisp as like in today's standards of OLED or AMOLED technologies, but it still is very enjoyable and very easy to see, very enjoyable and very easy to view, especially if you're on car trips or anything like that. It's pretty nice. However, again, the screen is pretty small at 2.5 inches, which is a drawback. Which is why iPod Video has a lot of accessories. For example, we have those video glasses where you hook it up and you can watch it on a glass, or you can hook it up to one of those mini portable DVD players and use the screen there to watch content. Or, of course, if you don't mind, just hook it to your TV and view content. But otherwise, it plays video pretty good as well. Other features on this iPod are very standard in terms of all the other features we've seen. You've got a basic clock to display your time, your world time. It's pretty speedy, pretty responsive. We also got the basic games that I've been seeing forever from Apple in terms of these classical elements. They used to have games that you can download online. They don't anymore. However, there are still third-party ways to load games in here, and it is a pretty enjoyable experience. For example, we have Brick on here. You can just, it's basically just Brick Breaker, and you use the scroll wheel to navigate where exactly you want the ball to bounce to, and try to collect as much points as you can. It depends on the placement of where you hit your ball on the tile. If you hit it on the edge, it goes a little faster. If you hit it on the center, it goes a little bit slower. So that's pretty much Brick Breaker. And we've got Music Quiz, quizzes you on your music, Parachute, Solitaire. We've also got, yes, Solitaire, the classic card game. Otherwise, we had a few features that you can drag and drop, including contacts, where you can basically add phone number, your photo, and an address of people that you know, which is pretty nice. It becomes kind of like a PDA or a Pocket PC in this aspect. We have a calendar, which is very nice. It takes well advantage of the screen and the processor. And of the video processor underneath. We have a note, which just displays your basic text information, which comes in handy. It's not anything like Where to Go, but it still is fairly nice. We have a stopwatch, which tells you your time, your lap information. We also have a screen lock, which allows you to set a combination so that no one else can really get and hack into your iPod product. Overall, it's a very polished device. iPod Video 5th generation is still a contender if you're looking for something that's hard drive based, and if you're looking for something that's a lot cheaper and you think that the iPod Classic or the 6th generation is a little bit on the expensive side, or if you think that you don't need that 160 gig hard drive or 120 gig, and that 60 gigs or 30 gigs is well enough for you, because I certainly know that there's a lot of places you can download movies and stuff online. You don't need 60 gigs to store. You don't even need 1 gig to get a movie, so you can get a lot of content, especially for somebody who doesn't need to store too many things. This is a great candidate because it's more inexpensive, because you can find it a lot cheaper now online, and it still is pretty interesting just to take a look at, and things are pretty responsive. You are going to experience the hard drive, so it's not going to be as instantaneous as a flash drive based player, and the screen could be larger, and the battery life could be a little longer, but overall it's very solid. Sound quality is excellent, and we just really enjoyed taking a look back at the 5th generation iPod video. Thanks for watching. Please read our full review on our website here at OSVTXreviews.com.